All right. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you here on this beautiful sunny day. I'm Joanne Moore. I'm the director of the Duxbury Senior Center, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Senior Safety. Senior Safety is a collaborative effort between the Duxbury Senior Center, the Plymouth Center for Active Living, the District Attorney Tim Cruz, Sheriff Joe McDonnell, and PAC TV. It was created to bring valuable information to our senior community during this time of pandemic. The topic that we will explore for this episode is elder financial abuse and exploitation, as well as some of the recent scams that have surfaced in this area. Our guests for this segment include Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz, Candy Weiler, and Marie Keefe. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much, District Attorney Cruz, for giving us such valuable information. And what can you tell us about elder financial abuse and exploitation?
Well, thanks, Joanne, and hi, Candy and Marie. And I want to thank once again you all for being so innovative during the COVID situation that we've been dealing with for a while here of getting the word out, because it continues to be important that we talk about these issues so that people can understand what's out there, what's going on, and how to protect themselves. Because, as we have talked about numerous things over time, elder financial abuse and exploitation is a real problem in the United States right now, and it's expected to continue to rise with the increasing number of those people aging in America. People are living longer, and that's a great thing, but also people are being targeted more by scam artists. According to the National Center on Elder Abuse, which is part of the United States Administration on Aging, 41 in 1,000 elders have reported financial abuse, 41 in 1,000. And that rate is higher than those who have been reported for neglect, emotional, physical, or sexual abuse of our elders. According to a recent article in the AARP, however, older adults have lost close to $36 billion every year in scams to fraud and exploitation. That's billions with a B. So it's certainly a very lucrative practice for the thieves that are out there trying to get things that you've worked for really hard in your life. We all know this type of abuse affects all of us. Everybody has aging parents, relatives, friends, anybody who could fall victim to exploitation. And as we all grow older, we all ourselves are falling potentially victims to that sort of exploitation. With the increase of elder financial abuse and exploitation, law enforcement, financial regulators, firms, and professionals have focused their attention and their resources on dismantling these operations and getting the word out about them, which is why it's important what we're doing today. New measures to protect older adults have been introduced over the past few years at both the state and national levels. Financial elder abuse and exploitation is, quite simply put, the illegal or improper use of an older adult's funds, properties, or assets. It is a crime which takes advantage of an older person for financial gain.
District Attorney Cruz, can you tell us who usually commits this type of a crime?
Yeah, Ken, that's a great question. But unfortunately, elder financial abuse and exploitation, many times it's family members who think that they're entitled to an elder's assets, can be caregivers who are handling the finances of an older adult due to cognitive issues. It can be the caregivers of elders who are living in long-term facilities. Elder financial abuse and exploitation can occur in any setting, such as a home, a community, or a facility where there's an expectation of trust, where an older person is targeted based upon their age or disability. The crime is committed when an individual who stands in a position of trust or confidence with an older person or adult with a disability knowingly, either by deception or intimidation, obtains control over that person's property and illegally uses their assets or resources for themselves.
District Attorney Cruz, can you give us some signs to look out for, as well as some examples of what elder financial abuse and exploitation looks like?
Sure, Marie. There are many signs and examples, and some of them are as follows. Somebody stealing an older adult's cash. Family members may ask for money or intimidate an elder into giving them money. Suspicious activity on bank statements. Someone withdraws money from an elder's bank account without the appropriate authorization. If you see that bills are piling up, and they're not being paid or because of lack of funds. Suspicious activity on credit cards with unusual purchases. Somebody cashes an elder's check without the appropriate authorization. Somebody's using an elder's credit card without authorization. Somebody, believe it or not, that has actually transferred a deed without authorization.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. Someone who misuses, powers of attorney or forces an elder to change a power of attorney to a new caretaker or to a friend, or somebody that's quite simply stolen somebody's identity.
Can you tell us why older adults are targets?
Sure, Joanne. Our older adults, unfortunately, are more vulnerable targets than most due to three interrelated sets of factors. The first factor is health related. The aging process can bring about cognitive and physical changes that elevate that risk. These changes can include cognitive impairment, poor physical health, fundamental impairment, and dependency on others. The second factor is due to retirement trends. The wealth and the assets that an older person has accumulated throughout life makes them a strong target.
Hmm.
The third is linked to demographic trends. Currently, there are steep rises in the elderly population, and the elder population is where the criminal perceives the money to be, right or wrong. That's based upon the fact that older adults are more likely to have an increase in financial resources, much more than their younger counterparts. And there's a higher prevalence, unfortunately, of social isolation as well as cognitive impairment. You'd think that elders who are barely making ends meet are safe. However, the studies have shown that they're at even a greater risk. That's due in part because seniors may have something that the abuser wants, such as an apartment or home to live in, equity in a home, or a regular source of income from either a pension or Social Security. Criminals are constantly thinking up new scams that target the senior population. And we'll get into a few of those in a moment. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're very successful at it.
Hmm.
District Attorney Cruz, how can we protect ourselves from being a victim of financial exploitation?
I know, Candy, it's unfortunately, it's easier said than done, but it's like everything nowadays. We have to remain vigilant. We have to keep our eyes open to see what's going around us. Some ways you can safeguard yourself are never pay bills through the telephone or give your credit card information to people that you don't trust. You can speak to your bank about setting a withdrawal limit and alerts in all of your accounts. When you're adding a cosigner to your bank account, choose carefully and wisely who you do. Because once you put that person on your account and make it a joint account, that person will have legal access to your money without your say-so. Always shred your sensitive information, your documents, and your receipts. That includes all the credit card bills and applications that we get every day. Don't just throw them out. Make sure they're threaded or torn up thoroughly, because there are still dumpster divers out there who are going through the dumpsters, taking trash and applying for credit cards on any packet they find put together.
Wow.
We always need to stay alert and make sure that we limit the number of people who have access to our money. And everybody, please be careful about loaning money to your friends and family. If they fail to repay a loan, this is not viewed as a crime because it's a loan. Therefore, it's a civil matter, not a criminal matter. You'll have to go to civil court on your own to try to recoup your losses. And that's a really long road to go down. You can also run your credit reports from the 3 credit reporting companies. In Massachusetts, you're entitled to 1 free copy of your credit report from each company for a total of 3 credit reports a year. You can request your free copy by contacting one of the 3 credit reporting companies, either by phone or on the web. The information is on our website at plymouthda.com. Anything that I say, any numbers or entity that I talk about, you can get that information on plymouthda.com. But the 3 companies are Equifax. Equifax's phone number, and like I said, it's on the website, is 1-800-685-1111 or at Equifax.com. Experian at 1-888-397-3742 or at Experian.com. Or the third one is TransUnion at 1-800-916-8800 or at transunion.com. What you can do, because you get 3 free ones a year, you can request one every 4 months. So for example, you can ask one for Equifax in January. Then 4 months later in April, you can get one from Experian. And 4 months later, you can get one in TransUnion. That way you'll be able to see throughout the year whether or not somebody's opening up accounts in your name that you're not aware of. But I must tell you that if you find out that you or somebody that you know has been the victim of financial exploitation, or you feel that you might be a victim, I encourage you to call your local police department. Many times people don't do that because they're embarrassed that they've been taken advantage of. And that's the worst thing that we can do.
District Attorney Cruz, you mentioned previously that criminals are constantly thinking up new scams to target the senior population. Could you expand on that for us?
Sure, Marie, I think, right now, especially, we're all living through unprecedented times. And there's a lot of scams that are targeting our senior population that's come to our attention. Since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, law enforcement officials across the world have reported a significant increase in the scams and cybercrimes, all related to misinformation and fear of COVID-19. It's sad, but there are people out there who try to take advantage of you through a crisis. We're all working hard every day to stay healthy and safe, but we also need to practice that same vigilance to make sure that every time we pick up the phone or every time we go online, that somebody doesn't take advantage of us.
District Attorney Cruz, what types of scam have you been seeing and how do they work?
One of the scams that we continue to see, and we've seen it, before COVID and also right now, is the grandparent scam. I think we've all heard a version of that, where you will be asleep in the middle of the night and you'll get a phone call. And, let's face it, you get a phone call in the middle of the night, nobody's calling in the middle of the night for good reasons. There's always something bad. So therefore, it's going to startle you, it's going to upset you, and you're going to get a phone call and somebody's going to say grandma or grandpa, words to that effect. Now remember, they're calling lots of people. So somebody might just hang up, other people will go on. And when they go along, they're going to hear a story from a voice of a very excited youngster, either a boy or a girl, saying that something to the effect of, oh, mom, grandma, grandpa, I just got arrested. I need your help. I can't tell my parents. They'll kill me. I need bail money. Or, you'll hear, me and my friends just got robbed. I'm overseas right now. I have no money to get back. I'm going to need your help. I can't get in touch with mom and dad. Or something, the version of coronavirus. One that we heard recently in our county was there was somebody got a phone call in Plymouth County and was told that by their alleged grandson that they had been in a car accident in New Hampshire and that somebody had gotten hurt. And as a result of the way that that person drove the car, he was being charged with a criminal offense. Now, this was at the beginning of COVID, and it was up in New Hampshire. And so he was able to say to this grandmother or grandfather, that unless he came up with $8,000 cash, he was going to be held on bail up in New Hampshire for a week because they were only opening court once a week, which was true. So of course that got the grandmother going as to what am I going to do about that? I can't let that occur. And then they'll have a further conversation. But the way that the whole scam starts is with the individual asking a question or telling a statement, and then the grandparent opening the door with information.
District Attorney Cruz, wouldn't I be able to recognize my grandchild's voice?
I mean, I think we all think, Candy, that would be able to do that. But remember, first of all, they're catching you off guard. They're startling you in the middle of the night, and they prey on your frayed nerves. So you really don't have a long conversation with the person that you believe might be your grandchild. And as soon as you say their name, Johnny or Susie, whatever it might be, the scammers are ready for the next phase. So now he or she's going to hand it off. In that case I was talking about up in New Hampshire, he said, oh, I'm lucky that I was with my friend that day, and his dad's a lawyer. Here he is. So now you're no longer talking to the person who you think's your grandchild. You've already given your name of your grandchild to them. And now you're talking to an attorney or some other helper that's going to help your loved one get out of the mess that they're in. And this person is going to take you through the next step of the scam. And they're going to talk to you as really the only person that's in a position to physically help your grandchild at that point. So if they're going to talk to you, if it's bail, they're going to talk to you about bail and how that money comes up. They talk to you about if the grandchild's allegedly in the hospital and need medical money for that. They're going to talk to you how to do that. They may be an attorney, they might be a doctor, they're going to be whatever they need to be to get you on the phone and talk to you and have conversations with you throughout the day. Normally, they will tell you that don't tell anybody. And that in and of itself should certainly get your antenna up that something's not right. And, it's unfortunate, but in that situation, and I think, I really do applaud the local banks and even the supermarkets, because it's not unusual for them to ask for, get cash or get gift cards, get the numbers of the gift cards and read them off. But in this instance, this woman was very concerned, obviously, for her grandson. And she went to the bank to get $8,000 cash. Now, that's not a usual withdrawal. And most banks and even, supermarkets now will say, are you okay? Because that's an unusual sort of withdrawal. This woman in this instance said, yeah, I'm okay. I just need the money for this one-time thing. She was given $8,000, had further conversations with the person that she believed was the attorney for her grandchild. And then after a number of conversations, they sent a courier to her home who parked their vehicle at the top of the driveway, got out of their vehicle wearing a mask because of COVID. And the woman went down to the end of her driveway and gave $8,000 of cash to this person, who got in their motor vehicle and drove away. She was told that the grandchild would call in a couple hours once he was out of New Hampshire, thanked her for her support. And of course, the grandchild never called. She eventually called the grandchild as well as his parents. And at that point found out the thing was a complete scam. And now the money's gone. And once the money's gone, as I always say, it's tough getting the toothpaste back in the tube. It's tough getting it back. So in this instance, I applaud the state police and the local police that worked on this. We actually made an arrest on this case, and we have a pending case right now at Hingham District Court. But that's the aberration. That is not the norm. So that's why, proceedings like this are important.
Okay, so District Attorney Cruz, what should I do if I get one of these calls?
If somebody calls you or texts you or emails you claiming to be a grandchild, a family member, a friend, and they sound desperate for money, number one, resist the urge to act immediately. No matter how dire, no matter how real the story sounds, resist it. You need to verify the caller's identity. So therefore, don't give them any names. Don't say the names of any of your relatives. They need that name to get to the next step. Try to ask them questions that a stranger wouldn't have the answer to. What color is your grandson's hair? Something. Reach out to family members to make sure to verify the facts of the story. You've been told to keep it a secret, but why? Why would it be a secret if you had a grandson that was in the hospital up in New Hampshire and needed money to pay a medical bill? Why is that a big secret? But the most important thing we can do, as I said earlier, was we can never send cash, gift cards, or money transfers. Once the scammer gets the money, it's gone, and you're probably never going to get it back. I mean, think of it for a second. You're gonna go to Shaw's and get $500 worth of gift cards, read the numbers off the gift cards to a person who's then going to put the bail up in New Hampshire. That doesn't smell right.
District Attorney Cruz, are there any other scams targeting seniors, and what should we be aware of?
Unfortunately, Joanne, there are. There's lots of fraudulent scams going on, and a lot of them are taking advantage of the COVID-19 scams that are surfaced and are active in our communities. They generally pertain to contact tracing and fraudulent billing of Medicare or COVID testing, treatment, and supplies. Normally, it'll work something along this line. The scammer is going to call, or like I said, text or email, and say, good morning, according to our system, you've been in close proximity to somebody who's tested positive for COVID-19. That means you need to now self-quarantine and also get a COVID-19 test. Now, if that was me getting that call, the first thing I would say is, well, who was I near? I mean, that's the general response, right? Who has COVID that I didn't know of? And of course, they're going to tell you that, that person tested positive, but due to HIPAA, the federal medical laws, we can't tell you. That's privileged information. We can't share that information for you. Then they're going to tell you that, you're the victim now, and within the next 72 hours, you need to be tested for COVID. And they're going to ask you to give them the best mailing address so they can send you a kit. And they're also going to ask for your credit card number so they can process a payment of $50. When you bring up the topic of the fee and you say, well, why isn't this free? Why is there a one-time fee of $50? They're going to pressure you to read your credit card numbers. They're going to pressure you. And when you say that you're not going to give them your card, they're going to threaten you with penalties for not complying and things such as that. Now, we should all remember back to the beginning or the middle of COVID earlier this year that the Massachusetts Senior Medicare Patrol Program sent out an alert warning seniors to never accept any form of COVID-19 testing from anybody other than a treating licensed physician or a state designated testing site. Scammers have also been going door to door, and approach people in public with an offer to test them for coronavirus. And what they'll do is they're going to give you a false positive regarding the result of that test, and they'll offer to treat you immediately. And through this scheme, scammers have illegally obtained Medicare numbers and money that even gone so far, if you can believe it, as billing Medicare for their sham testing, their treatment and supply. It's crazy. And the other thing that's going on right now is a Social Security scam. And in this one, you're going to get a phone call from a telephone scammer pretending to be a government employee working for the Social Security Administration or some other government agency. To assist in this scheme, they're going to email you false documents that look very official via email. It's a scam. It's called phishing is the name of this sort of scam. The scammer is going to tell you that there's a problem, there's an issue with your Social Security number or your account, and that you owe a debt or a fine. And they're going to threaten to arrest or pursue legal action against you if you don't pay. The scammer asks you to pay the debt or the fine, once again, gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfers, or cash.
This is alarming, District Attorney Cruz. How can I protect myself from this type of a scam?
Once again, the best thing that we can do is stay alert and ask questions. Always keep in mind that a government employee, no matter who they work for, they might call you, but they're never going to threaten you. So if you all recall back, was it a year ago, 6 months ago, we were all getting calls from the IRS, screaming at us on the phone that if you don't pay money, we're going to come and arrest you. I think I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, one of the top secrets of law enforcement, once again, I don't want you to tell anybody, is when the police are going to come and arrest you, they're not going to call you. They're just going to come and arrest you. All right. So if somebody's screaming at you, that's going to be arrested, it's not happening. Right?
The cat's out of the bag.
That's right. So, and you're going to get other kind of threats. If the person alleges it from the Social Security Administration, they're going to say, we're going to suspend your account immediately. They can't do that. An employee of the Social Security or some other government agency is never going to demand immediate payment from you or demand that you pay, once again, with cash, a prepaid debit card, gift cards, or wires. If you do get a call, and you might get a call at some point in your life from a government agency, and they are talking to you in a manner that you deem to be threatening, ask to speak to this supervisor and report that call.
Okay. District Attorney Cruz, I received an email from Amazon telling me that my Prime membership is up and that my card associated with my Prime account is no longer valid. It wants me to update my card or add a new card to the account. Is this a scam or is this real?
Maria, once again, I'm glad you asked the question because I get the same emails. I mean, I think we're all getting the same emails. More likely than not, it's a phishing scam. During this pandemic, we've seen an increase in phishing scam emails that have malware incorporated into them. And malware is when they get into your device and they start stealing your personal information. These emails often have misleading information. They have false links. And a few of the phishing scams that we've seen here in our county come from credit card companies, Amazon, Comcast, Netflix, and Facebook. They're landing in all of our email boxes.
District Attorney Cruz, what in the world is a phishing scam and how does something like that work?
Yeah, Joanne, there's a lot of scams and it can get very confusing.
Mhm.
But for those of you that don't understand what a phishing scam is, it is phishing. It's spelled with a PH and not an F. And what a phishing scam is, it's a type of an online scam where criminals will send an email or a text message that appears to be from a legitimate company. The scam usually involves an alarming ruse, same thing, always an alarming ruse, to startle you. So you'll be inclined to follow their instructions and provide you your sensitive personal information. These emails and text messages have malware incorporated in them, and they often contain misleading information and false links. So for example, in the Amazon email scam that we'd spoken about earlier, a person will receive an email stating that their Amazon Prime subscription is about to expire, but there's something wrong with the credit card associated with that account. It needs to be either updated or a new card needs to be added to renew that subscription. The email looks legitimate. It's got the Amazon logo there. It's got the from box, and the top of the email states it's from Amazon Prime. But when you click on the word Amazon Prime in the from box, a weird looking email address is going to display. That's a great way to determine that the email is fraudulent and that this is a scam. Keep in mind that any link contained in this email is probably malware. So that means if you put any of your personal information to that request, it's probably going to get stolen from you.
Wow, so much to learn and understand about scams and what's going on, and COVID definitely hasn't made it any easier for us. We
No.
thank you, District Attorney Cruz, for taking the time to speak with us today. This is really great information, and you're such a valuable resource to all of us in the community, especially the seniors. And I really want to thank Candy and Marie for being our ongoing guests on this show. It's great to see you on an every other month basis and learn something new. And where can our viewers go to get additional information regarding the resources that you shared today?
Yeah, Joanne, thanks. Yeah, anything that I said and more, all the things that occur here at the DA's office, we put them in our website and online. And if there's anything that we can do to help, don't hesitate to either call us at 508-584-8120. And that number is on PlymouthDA.com. Everything that we talked about, whether it be the credit card issues or whether it be ongoing scams and other, videos that we've done, we can direct you to the right spot if you have questions. And like I said, if you have questions that you need a live person to talk to, we always have an assistant DA on call that you can call, that 508-584-8120 number. But in the meantime, PlymouthDA.com. I want to thank you, Joanne. I want to thank everybody, Candy and Marie, for coming on board, and everybody for watching today. It's always a pleasure coming on, and I just say that let's remain safe, and we'll get through this whole COVID situation together.
Well, I feel like we're getting closer to the end, and I'd like to thank everyone for being on the show today, and to our home viewers for watching this show. This wraps up our episode of Senior Safety, and I look forward to seeing you all soon again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.